Welcome back to 4-H Embryology. I'm Denise Sherrill. I'm the 4-H agent in Henderson County. Today is day 9 for our embryos. I hope that you've washed your hands, that 3 times a day you're recording the temperature. It could be the thermostat or another thermometer in your house, and you're taking a drink of water, and you've got your paper eggs, and you're turning them 3 times a day. That's what I'm doing with my embryos right now. And that you're recording it. So there's an embryology record sheet in the resources in your Google folder. Every time I turn my eggs, I write down the temperature and the humidity and the time that I'm turning them down. The humidity needs to be between 45 and 55% during this time. The temperature should be about 100 degrees. And we're in the setting phase. So there's an important word that I haven't shown you yet, and it's what we're using when we candle. I candle at night because this room is very bright. If you had a dark place in your room, you could candle during the day. This is a candler. This is what we're using it when we look inside to figure out what's going on inside the eggs. And you see that word candler comes from the word candle. Our candler uses electricity. I plug it in when I use it. And there are some candlers that have batteries. But before there was electricity, people did use candles to figure out what was going on inside the eggs. Now we know that our white eggs are clear, the shells are clear, and we can see through them, see into them. But the green eggs and the turkey eggs, we cannot see in them. So it's going to be a surprise what happens. So this is another record sheet that I want to show you. As far as the candling record, we can only candle the white leghorn eggs. And so the number of eggs set were the number of eggs in the incubator and the number of infertile eggs. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll look at all the white eggs and we'll figure out the number that were infertile and the number that are fertile. So that's going to be our white leghorn record. And then this is going to be the hatching record. So we'll write down the number of fertile eggs, the number of eggs that did not hatch, and the number of chicks that hatched. And we'll also look at the day of the hatch. So I'm going to bend my camera down here so you can look at our eggs. There's a picture of the eggs also in the resources. And remember, I've washed my hands and they're on O, and I'm going to be turning them over to X. And I'm only going to be turning the white eggs at this time. I will turn them all. So 3 times a day, we wash our hands, we write down the temperature and the humidity, and we turn our eggs. And while you're looking inside the incubator, I'm putting my 2 infertile eggs right here. So when we candle, we saw the embryos on day 1 and day 3 and day 6 and day 9. Today is day 9 for our embryos. So you see how the embryo has grown bigger. It's still shaped like a C, and that eye is still very large. but the yolk is getting smaller. The embryo is absorbing nutrition from the yolk. And we also see something that looks white and clear when we candle. That's called the air sac. There's one more paper that I want to share with you that's in the resources. Farmers and scientists keep very careful records. So this is the embryology hatch report. And we're going to keep very careful records, just like scientists and farmers. We're going to keep track of the total number of chicken eggs set and the number of eggs that did not hatch and the total number of chicks that hatched. We're also going to keep track of the total number of turkey eggs set, the total number of eggs that did not hatch, and the number of chicks that hatched. Now, when we talked about the turkey eggs, I had you count them, and I said there were 24 turkey eggs. Well, when the farmer gave me the eggs for the chickens, she gave me these 2 boxes, 24, plus 18 more eggs. So there were 3.5 dozen chicken eggs. We already counted them one more time, but I'd like you to write that down on your hatch report, how many total chicken eggs there were. So how many are 3.5 dozen? That's how many total chicken eggs there were. And I would like to tell you that I work with different agents. There's a video about all the agents in our resources. We all work for North Carolina Cooperative Extension. And we work at North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Henderson County Center. So if you wanted to search and you could find out who we are and what we do, that's what you would look up. And if you have questions for me about embryology, there's my email address. You could email me. If you have questions about chickens, I would refer you to our livestock agent. And there's a video from our poultry specialist at NC State in the resources with her very own chicken that she owns. If I have questions about embryology, I ask her and she helps me. So I'm going to turn my video off and we'll come back on tonight when we are candling our eggs. We've got all our white eggs in one place, so you can count them. And then we're going to candle them and see which ones are fertile and which ones aren't fertile. It's time to turn our eggs for the 3rd time today, and we're going to candle. It's day 9. So I wanted to show you our incubator control center so that you could see the humidity and the temperature of the incubator. And here's incubator number 2. We're still in the setting phase, so we want the humidity to be between 45 and 55%. This is the egg that we know is not fertile. You can see the yolk in there, and you can see a lot of clear liquid, but no embryo. There's a very clear air cell in the bottom of that egg. And there's the embryo. You can see its eye. It's that dark spot. It's hard to see the veins on this one, Maybe you can see them right there. And you can see a large vein above the embryo too. So this is the third egg that we're candling tonight. The embryo's down on the bottom there. It's starting to get dark. Lots of veins spreading out across the yolk. Lots and lots of veins. There's the embryo down at the bottom of this egg also. You can see the dot where its eye is, and you can see lots of veins on the yolk. There's the embryo on this egg. It's closer to the top of the egg, right beside our O. Okay. Lots of veins here, and there's the embryo. You can see the embryo on this egg, and lots of veins on the yolk. There's our other infertile egg. I wondered where it was. Very clear embryo there and veins. This is the last egg we're going to candle tonight. It's a good representative picture of an embryo and veins on day 9.